There are some parents who feel like that you do not have the right to speak your mind when it comes down to how they parented you. I know for sure that I did not have a good mom or dad, not the fake ones nor the real ones. And so many people around them will be so opinionated. And it's like, I was the one who was a child, I was the one who had to endure that treatment. You don't get to be a shitty parent and then expect for me to tell you that you were a good parent. And some parents feel like that if they do what they want to do and parent you how they want to, then that qualifies them to be a good parent. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. You don't get to make decisions for someone else and then tell them that that was the best decision for them. You don't get to make that choice because you're not inside of that person's body to be able to tell what's the best decision for them. You can give recommendations, but you're not them. T.I. also is an example of this when it comes down to King. Basically, he was trying to make it seem like King wanted to be from the hood whole time. T.I. was the one who wanted to be from the hood. He did a few years a long time ago and just got out like feeling very superior. The only men who brag on going to jail, making them feel like it makes them look like they're worth something in the streets, is black men. They're the only ones who go to jail and feel like that if they did their time, then they accomplished something. If you are a black man and you go to jail and you get out on early release for telling what should be told, they're going to talk about you. But yet they will call you a man if you sit down in jail and lose your career, lose your money, lose your opportunities, and lose your family. That's sick, and that's a trap to manipulate you out your spot. King was a child who did not always see things the way other people did. Just because you have money, and not all celebrities have money, a lot of times celebrities are living off of free things or promo. Zonique even came out and told the world that the house that we watched them grow up in on TV was not even their real home. That was just for TV. King said that he was always, in the hood, and his parents were like, you wanted to go to your grandmama's house. And why is that? It's always an excuse. It's always you wanted this. It's never, you know what, maybe I wasn't the best parent to you, and I can own that and just simply move on. It don't take that long. That same oxygen and breath that you are using to try to talk about your kid or defend your parenting skills, you can use that same mouth and simply just say, you know what, if you don't feel like I was the best parent for you, then that's just what it is. I cannot change your feelings. I did what I did and I can't change it. And it should be an apology. I've had certain people in my life who hurt me, even my adopted dad. When I told him, like, you know that you're part of the reason why my adopted mom was abusing me. He told me, I don't feel like I owe you an apology, which most men who don't take care of their kids, they don't feel like they owe the child an apology. And a lot of parents try to teach their child the hard way. That's how you know that they were not, like they weren't silver spoon fed whatsoever. They literally were making their children chase their dreams, chase, and did not have to. If you notice on the show all the time, King would literally have emotional outbursts because he wanted to be an artist. And it was T.I. saying, oh, you got to work your way to the top. You don't just get it handed to you because you're my son. I'm sure that's not what he thought, and I'm sure that's not what he meant. I'm very much sure that King always said that he wanted his own name. Some parents don't like their child to grow up and outdo them, especially if it's something similar to what they did. And the fact that if you had this much money and you was raising them kids so well, you would not have forced them to take the struggling route. Only black people do that. Again, only black people are the ones who are teaching their kids that you need to work for what you want. Mind you, if we have generational wealth, yes, you can just hand it to me. It doesn't matter about who your parents are. That may help you get some spotlight. But if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. Aries, they literally have to go out with her because she's a kid. She's underage. They have to go out there and support her when she's on the stage. They are there whenever she wants to, sing and things like that. But at the end of the day, her being the product of T.I. and Tiny does not mean nothing. It means maybe that she can probably get, into certain doors. But at the end of the day, she will have to have that talent for herself to go further or to get her name like on a market where she wants to be. Same way that it went for King. If T.I. gave him a handout, it wasn't like he was going to just surpass every album that T.I. had done. But it doesn't mean that you have to force your kids to struggle and try to manipulate them into thinking that's how the real world is. No, that's not how the real world is. That's how black people who are narcissists and who feed off of hurting people, that's how they are. Those are the same type of people who feel like pain creates a beautiful story. Those are the same type of men who cheat on their partner, dog them out, go create false families here. And then when shit hits them upside down, then they want to come back and propose to you with the ring. Life does not have to be hard. The only people who think that are the black people or the white people who are trying to put black people in that type of mindset. There's nothing wrong with being silver spoon fed. And sometimes some parents don't want you to have an easier route than they did. I've experienced that a lot throughout my life when it comes down to older people. They do not want you to come in and have an easier path when they feel like they struggled and fought their way to the top. I experienced this firsthand in the military because when I joined, they were updating certain regulations and changing certain things. And even though we were still enduring abuse, the older people and the higher ups in the military still felt like we had it easy. Like, you don't get to determine somebody else's level of hardness when it's their story. I remember when I saw Coyle Ray go live with Nicki Minaj, and she was saying, like, people giving her a hard time and things like that. And Nicki Minaj was like, you don't get to say that. She was like, you did not have a hard time. And it's like, yes, she did. Just because you feel like you had a hard time, it doesn't take away somebody else's struggle. Some people feel like that if their struggle was worse than yours, then you don't get to complain about what you went through. Whole time, they don't even know what you went through completely. Whole time, they don't even know how bad it was for you. Just from the outside looking in. And Nicki Minaj is like, I took a lot of hate. Nicki, you weren't the only one, babes. And you also gave out a lot of hate, too. I saw this post where she was talking to somebody who supports Jay-Z, and she basically was telling him like, oh, you said I'm not welcoming to the new girls and things like that. And it's like, Nicki, we got to be honest, queen, you're not. You wasn't. You wanted to be the only one on that throne, and you can't get mad at nobody for saying it. That's not even bashing you. That's just speaking the truth. You wanted to be the queen at the top, just like Beyonce. She didn't want nobody to outdo her. But the thing about it is, we all got to go in a casket, and one day, nobody is going to remember you. Same way with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a legend. I used to play the hell out of his songs when I was a kid. Now, I don't even turn on Michael Jackson. Like, it's by the luck of the draw when I listen to Michael Jackson. That's just proof that no matter how big you are, one day, it's all going to be over with anyways. And there's always going to be somebody that don't know you, and that's not a problem. I'm sure if Rihanna walks outside right now and somebody don't walk up to her screaming, oh my God, it's Rihanna, can we get a picture? I don't think she's going to be mad. I'm sure she will be happy that she's in peace and she can walk down the fucking street without getting harassed and people knowing who she is. Being unknown is like, it's not a bad thing. But the original point of this message is just to say how some people take a certain route in life and will feel like you need to take a harder route as well, or they will try to dim or lower down like what you went through. And that's how I feel like T.I. did King, like telling him like, oh, you didn't grow up in the hood, like you didn't grow up like I did, so your childhood wasn't bad. Like, you don't get to determine that for him. That's not your place to do. I'm very happy to see the growth in King, but it still doesn't change facts of what happened. And it's no diss to Nicki Minaj. I love me some Onika. I really do. I think she's very talented. I think that she came out and she went skyrocket high. But I also saw clips of her when she was talking about Cardi B, basically like not showing her, giving her flowers. And it's like, people don't have to come out and bow down to you. That's not how this goes. I didn't see you do that to Foxy Brown nor Lil' Kim. I never once, not saying you didn't, but I never once saw Nicki Minaj say, you know what, thank you, Lil' Kim. Thank you, Queen Latifah. Thank you, Foxy Brown. Thank you, Eve. I never once saw that. Never once saw her give them their flowers. Oh, you're talented. Like, never once saw her listen to one of their songs. Like, I never seen it, honey. I just never. And I just say all that to say that don't let nobody make you feel like that your story isn't what it was. If you was abused or if your story was hard, that's just what the fuck it was. Nobody can dim that down or compare it to their experience because they are an outsider. Because truth be told, it's always somebody who had it worse or harder than us. It's always somebody that had to take a more difficult path. We all are paving the way for somebody. Literally, all of us are paving the way for somebody after us. Doesn't matter if you're a painter, singer, you can fucking count Skittles for a living. You're still paving the way for someone, and you don't get to knock somebody else's life, or feel like that they should take the hard route. Black people really just need to get out of that. You don't get to force struggle on somebody and tell them that's the way that you should build yourself.